My next guest is calling out the need for more conversation around one specific relationship: parents and their adult kids. It's a tricky dynamic to work through, right? We recognize the roles have changed, but we desperately want the relationship to remain. So what do our adult children need the very most? What do they need the very most? We'll start there with Studio 5 parenting contributor Heather Johnson. I think I know the answer.
The very most.
Love.
They do. Unconditional
love. Did I get it,
love.
Teach?
You did. You got
unconditional
it. Exactly
love.
right.
Yeah.
It needs to be unconditional, though, and we often get this mixed up. The way we do this is we're quick to say we love our kids, our adult kids especially, unconditionally, but our actions don't always support that, right? We say we love them unconditionally, which means that we're going to love them more than we love our own expectations. That's hard. Unconditional love is a very quiet steadfastness. It is unwavering. It is forgiveness. It is acceptance. It is not judging. It is not sharing opinions when they're not asked for. That's all unconditional love. And it's funny because all those things I just listed are often things we do with our adult kids.
And things that
right?
get in the way, right? When the relationship starts to feel prickly and parents are left scratching their heads, I imagine very often circles back to one of those scenarios.
Absolutely. And our inability to, again, with very quiet steadfastness, step back and just love them with their flaws, with their perspectives, even when we disagree, with the forgiveness, with the burden of continuing to be friends with them, even if we don't agree with them.
See, but as you're saying this, I'm like, well, yeah. So what makes it so hard on the ground in the moment to unconditionally love adult children?
When we start to have expectations for what we think they should be doing, and when we allow what our adult kids do to be a reflection of us, we have a really hard time loving them unconditionally. So as soon as I allow who they've married or how they raise their kids or what they're doing for work or how they're living, what lifestyle they're living, to be a reflection of if I was a good or a bad mother, that one thing makes it very hard for me to love them unconditionally.
That's the trap. Okay, so if unconditional love is the answer, and it always is, we're going to talk about where we go from there. And you've identified 5 things adult children need from their parents in order for them to feel unconditional love. So even if I'm offering it, this is kind of the checkpoint, like for them to absorb it, right? This is the agent they need to take it in.
Absolutely. And remember, we can be offering it and they still get to choose to accept it. We should make that really clear. Nevertheless, these are things that they need. They're our best shot at having that relationship.
First, they need us to believe them.
They do. They need us to believe them. Even to say to them, I believe you, right? So for example, when you have an adult child who's in college and they say that college is really hard and they can't work at the same time, we might completely disagree, but we need to believe them. When they say that they can't come over with their families for Sunday dinner because they don't have time, they have too much going on, we need to believe them.
Hold on, back to the first example. Because what if believing them is compromising to their life situation? Like someone has to pay for college, someone has to get a job.
Right.
How do we believe that?
We can believe them and still have boundaries or guidelines or tell them what it is we can offer or help with. It doesn't mean we're going to roll over. It doesn't mean that we are even accepting of it as much as we're saying, okay, if you're telling me that you can't do both, I'll believe you. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to pay for everything, but I can believe that to you, this is too hard. To you, this doesn't make sense.
So I'm hearing empathy.
Right? Absolutely.
Okay.
It's the same when they say that when they were kids, things that we did hurt them. And now they're adults and they're bringing them back up. Now, we might disagree. We might know that our intent was pure, but to them, they're hurt. And so we need to believe that it hurt them. It's believing them. Believing them or that empathy builds trust. It builds a very vulnerable space that's also safe. They're much more likely, that college student, to recognize what they're capable of when we'll say we believe them first. And here's why. When we don't believe them, they fight really hard to be believed. They'll fight and they'll push for that. And so they lose their ability to see all on their own, right? That intent for them.
You referenced this next need in an example you shared, which I know is a common one.
Yep.
Adult children need parents to accept our shortcomings and take accountability.
They do. They need us, again, not just to believe them, but to take accountability for the shortcomings we had and still do. We all make mistakes as parents, millions of them. Our kids have been hurt by things that we've done. Now, what we want to look at here is we want to make sure that to take accountability and to take responsibility, that we include 2 things. That is our intent and also the impact.
Because intent does matter. We can't totally disregard that.
Here's the thing we're going to do with that, though. We're going to personally take comfort in our own intent. We know our intent as parents has always been good. We know that.
So the intention is for us?
That's exactly right. We're going to personally acknowledge that our intent has been good, even privately accept I know my intent has always been good. We're going to outwardly take accountability for the impact. And we're going to do those two things hand in hand. So that intent, we're going to know it. We're going to know it to our core, that we've done what we could to the best of our ability. And also then outwardly, very publicly with them, we need to be willing to accept that the impact might have been different on them than the intent that we had in our heart.
Knowing, and I'll just say it, you've hinted around it, knowing they might not accept the intent or agree with the intent, and that's your internal piece that you just have to cling to.
That's exactly right. And the mistake we make is we try to get our kids, our adult kids, to see and hear our intent. Yes, but I didn't mean to. Yes, but I tried and did the best that I could. That's not what they need from us. They need us to know our intent personally was good, and then us to be willing to take responsibility for the fact that it could have impacted them differently than we intended.
That's a really beautiful and
that.
discipline-driven exercise, that companion.
Absolutely. They go together beautifully.
All right. They need us to accept who they love.
Yes, this is one of the largest, biggest sources of contention between adult kids and their parents. It's an inability for parents to accept that whoever our adult kids choose to love, we need to accept. Whether it's who they're dating, whether it's a partner, whether it's a spouse, we need to accept that person and all of their flaws also. Support, not try to change, not judge. And this is hard. Our kids are our favorites. They are the best to us. And so they side up next to someone, and it's easy to see their flaws. It's easy to see that we wish they'd treat our spouse differently. Our job is to accept who they love and let that also be unconditional. It will move mountains in adult relationships if we just accept without judgment.
I find myself thinking too, because I'm really invested in the mother-in-law dynamic, right? I'm not there yet, but I think a lot of women just want to get it right. And I find myself thinking through observation, this is something you can't fake.
It's
like
true.
This is going to take the real work. Like you can do the surface things and do the tap dance and say the verbal. You really have to feel it.
You do, which means you really have to step away from judgment. And you really have to choose to accept, right? We have to choose to do that. We actually have to live these values. The other thing about it is, not only does it have to be genuine inside, but if we misstep in these relationships, they're actually really hard to come back from. And it's uncomfortable to say out loud, but it is. It's hard. If you have a daughter-in-law or a son-in-law and you decide to have a sit down and judge and tell them the things you hope would be different, it is really hard to come back from those things. So we want to make sure, one, that on the front end, we're really good in the in-law position. But we also want to make sure that we are the ones that forgive, that we are the ones who are open-minded, that we love unconditionally.
Adult children need a grandparent. They need us to grandparent like they parent.
Yes. So if your kids come to you and say, our kids, your grandkids, we don't want them to have sugar, we need to grandparent the same way that our kids are parented.
We're not sneaking them a dum-dum.
No, we're not. If they say, could you have them in bed by 8, and we don't agree with that, because we think they should stay up later and we should watch our favorite movie and then we should make chocolate chip cookies, because we're the grandparents and we're excited about that and have expectations for that role. We need to actually parent exactly how they've asked us to. If they want them to lay down and take a nap, but we'd love to play with them, we need to put them down for naps. So we need to grandparent the same way that they're parenting and support that. It shows our children that we trust them, that we love them, and that we're trustworthy. The cool thing about that too is that as we create that really safe relationship, because we're grandparenting the way they parent, those parents are going to be much more open to hearing if we do have an opinion about something, if we do have a thought about something. When I trust my parents explicitly that way, because they've upheld any of those requests I've ever had, it makes it so much easier for them to then say, hey, do you think we could make chocolate chip cookies, or do you think they could skip this nap and we could steal them away to do this? So it builds that trust, and then it opens all the doors for that relationship to grow.
Like you have a teammate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that they're supporting you.
I'm a terrible aunt in this regard, so I better start shaping up so I'm ready for the next role. Adult children need us to keep our opinions to ourselves.
And this one's hard, right? It's hard because we can see the pitfalls before they can. We can see where they're headed. We have 20 plus years of experience, they don't. We recognize a lot of things that they don't see yet. And so it's natural, not to mention we love them. I would love to express all the opinions and thoughts and ideas to our adult kids and see if I couldn't safeguard them from pitfalls or from challenges or from hurt or from mistakes. And yet the only reason that I know that there might be mistakes ahead is because I already made them or went through it or experienced it.
And someone let you.
And somebody let me. And so it's our turn to let them do that same thing. Plus, remember, unless someone asks you for opinion, they're not looking to hear it.
I do find myself thinking opinion is sort of a natural part of conversation. So how might I still engage without inflicting, right? Or,
opinions?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, that's kind of a natural part of communication and conversation between adults. It might feel a little stifling or a little restrictive at first to try to really walk that line.
Absolutely. We can look inward and watch our intent.
Okay.
As a parent to an adult child, if we'll be honest with ourselves, we know full well when we're having conversation, and the intent is to get you to see something, to get you to change something, to get you to do something.
Yes.
If I'm honest with myself, I know the difference between, oh, we're just going back and forth here, or, man, I really hope our son does this different and recognizes this and wants to change that.
Yeah.
So that's a really great way to start, right, is by doing that. The other thing that answers that question so powerfully is if we will believe them and if we will see them first and withhold any judgment or opinion, they will then tend to circle back to say, hey, Mom, what do you think? Hey, how did this go down? Hey, our daughter isn't sleeping very well. Do you have any ideas? Or did this ever happen with you when you were parenting us?
Yeah.
They're much more likely to circle back if we'll just sit still with them without the opinion first.
In the moment.
See them, validate them, be believing. Say, it's miserable when your kids won't take a nap. That's so frustrating. They're tired. Validate that.
Yeah.
And then let it sit for a minute, and you will find that there will be a natural space for the opinion to build and be offered because there's trust.
This is good stuff, Heather. I find myself thinking this is the good work. Like whether you want to be a good human, a good Christian, a good mother-in-law, whatever, this is the good work.
It is. It's the good work.
Yeah.
It's people work, right? It's relationship work.
And you're so good at helping us be better at that. Thank you so much. Heather has a private practice where she counsels individuals and families. You'll find her contact information on our website.